1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, just checking that we're actually recording from the headset mic this time, because on the last video, the receive tune-up video, for some reason it wasn't recording from the Bluetooth mic, and so the audio on that video was terrible. Anyway, this was supposed to be the second video in the series. It's now the third, and you can see that I have replaced all of the electrolytic capacitors in the radio now. They have all been completely replaced. And I've got to say, when they were replaced, it didn't really make any difference to the radio. The radio's working exactly the same before as after. But I will say that all these orange ones you can see here, the ones I've replaced with these orange ones, they are 25 volt, 4.7 microfarads, and they were all reading double what they should be. So they were reading like 8 microfarads, and so you've got these 1, 2, 3, and like 4 main capacitors. People say you must change those 4 capacitors before you do anything with the Uniace 200 or the audio line 341. I think there is a realistic radio with the same chassis. But those were found to be kind of okay, as were most of the other capacitors. They were all kind of okay. Some of them were borderline, but the only ones that were really bad were all these 4.7 microfarad ones. They were all of them, all 6 were double what they should be, and that's crazy to me. But anyway, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do the audio mod to this, and I have been looking around online, and there is a lot of debate. Some people saying you should do the audio mod, some people say you shouldn't do it, some people saying just get a better microphone and whatever. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to test that, because I'm going to put the handset in the other room and I'm going to transmit with this sort of standard mic, or a standard style mic, the standard coffin mic, and we're going to see what the audio is like. And then I'm going to transmit using this microphone, which is a high quality microphone. It does look very similar to the static Road Devil, but this is not amplified in any way. This is just a standard microphone. So I'm going to transmit on this one, before the audio mod, and that one. Then I'm going to do the audio mod, and then I'm going to do the transmit tests again. And so we'll see what the audio sounds like before and after. And, when I'm transmitting with this mic, does it sound good, and do we really need to do the audio mod? Well, the fact is I'm going to do the audio mod anyway. And so what I'll do now is I'll get the handset set up in the other room, and obviously I'll be transmitting into a dummy load. Hopefully it'll transmit far enough, and we'll see what the audio sounds like. So the audio mod's been done in this radio now, and I did the comparison, the before and after, but sadly that didn't turn out very well, because for one, the silver mic wasn't working very well. Its contacts need cleaning, obviously, because it hasn't been used for a long time. I mean, the silver mic did sound better than the standard DMC 520 coffin mic, but I won't be able to use any of that footage. And so we have got the before and after using the standard coffin mic, but it's not really a true representation, because the after was actually recorded a lot quieter, and so that didn't work out. But I will add that little clip at the end of the video just for sort of completeness, I suppose. But I'm very happy with how it sounds, and so that's good. The observant among you may notice that this capacitor has been changed once again. That's because the one I took out was 470 microfarads, and so that's what I replaced it with, a 470. And then I was looking at the schematic, and he said that's supposed to be a 220. So I've now replaced it with a 220. It doesn't seem to make any difference at all to the way the radio works. So I suppose it doesn't really matter. But then I put the right one back in, so that's all good. And before, we noticed the radio was slightly low on frequency. It was like 7909 or something. So Uniden don't give you any way to tune that frequency. There is just this capacitor C60 over here, which you can't really see at that angle, but yeah, there we are. So you've got C60 there. So I changed that for a new capacitor. That's 39 picofarads. So I changed that for a new capacitor, and that's got the frequency a lot better. But it's still out. So I wanted to try putting in one of these ceramic trimmers and see if we can get the frequency any closer. And this is 8 to 50 picofarads they will adjust from. And so, yep, sorry, we're not advertising, so I'll just hide the name there. And so yeah, so we're going to try one of those. I mean, there may be a reason why Uniden, or whoever actually designed the boards, there may be a reason they didn't put a trimmer in there in the first place. So, but I'm going to put a trimmer in there, and we'll find out if it works or not. So if I move to the frequency counter now, okay, so there we can see the counter. And of course, with any frequency counter, you must leave it on for at least half an hour before you take any readings, because they do take a while to stabilize. I mean, there are some frequency counters with like a quick start facility where you can only leave them like 10 minutes and they'll be okay. But usually you want to leave it at least half an hour. And this one I've left it on all last night because I knew I would be working on the radio today. So I turned it on last night. And if I put the check button now, we can see it's bang on what it should be. So that's good. So we go back here. And now, of course, the radio before was doing 277909. So we'll see what it's doing now. 79107, which is that is perfectly acceptable because we are well within the 50 hertz tolerance. So that's very good. And for most people, you'd be happy and you'd leave it at that. And I would too, really, but I do want to try putting in one of these ceramic trimmers to just see if we can get it any closer. Somebody's been like making drawing marks on the board. Like they're indicating about these two contacts probably. And also here, they circled that joint for some reason. And then further up this way, there is some more pen marks up here. And also, where were we? Around there is another pen mark. So I'm not sure what they were trying to work out or what they were trying to do, fault find or whatever. But yeah, I mean, experienced techs never usually draw on the board with permanent marker. So yeah, before we just change that actually, I just wanted to say that I did play around a bit while I was, before I decided to buy a trimmer. And if you put your finger close to the capacitor, that increases the capacitance. And as the capacitance goes up, the frequency goes down. So, I mean, you could try putting maybe a 33 picofarad capacitor in there. Then that may take the frequency reading too high. Who knows? But I thought, well, if we put the trimmer in, we should be able to adjust it from 8 to 50 picofarads, and we should be able to get it bang on. Okay, so I took the capacitor out, and you can see it's from here, and you might notice that the holes are a little bit larger than they used to be, and that's because the actual trimmer didn't fit. So because the legs on this, focus on that, we'll focus, oh yeah, there we are. So the legs on this were slightly thicker and they wouldn't fit. So I've had to increase the size of the holes. It does now fit perfectly. And what I used to do that is I got these carburetor jet cleaners. They were actually sold to me as desoldering spikes, but they're not because solder sticks to them. And if we can get close up, you can see it's a bit ribbed there. So it's a bit like a file. So I started off with one that would just fit in, and I gradually stepped up and up until we got to, I think it was this one. Can we see? Focus on that. Yeah. And so it just acted as a little file, and so it's just made the holes now big enough. Okay, so that's got the trimmer in. You can see it just down there, hopefully. Yep. So let's now go to the other side, and we can see that the legs were just long enough to come through. So I'll now just solder that, and then obviously we'll see what we need to do to get it on frequency. And in theory, with this trimmer added instead of the 39 picofarad capacitor, we should be able to get it to exactly spot on frequency. So let's now plug it all back in and find out. Okay, so I've got this trimmer soldered in now. So let's now see what it's doing as standard. 27,79103. Very good, but we're looking for 79125. So let me now get the little plastic screwdriver. Now I've got to be a bit careful because this plastic screwdriver is really a bit too small for this, but it will get it. So let's see what we get. 7916457. Oh, well, it's very delicate. 79126. Well, I don't think we can get much closer than that. Okay guys, just to clarify, earlier in the video I did say that every frequency counter you have to leave on for at least half an hour to get it warmed up and stabilized. Obviously that doesn't apply to these little handheld frequency sniffers because these are designed to be just turned on and used, and then they do turn themselves off after a couple of minutes. So I just wanted to be clear about that because I did say earlier that every frequency counter has to be left on to warm up before you use it. But yeah, it doesn't apply to these little portable handheld units. Okay guys, so thanks for watching the video, and I'll edit in the audio test now and we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. So this is the standard BNC 520 coffin mic, and I guess it's working. This is now transmitting on the standard BMC 520 coffin mic. This is after the audio mod, and so we'll see how this sounds.